everyone, welcome back to another 3 Tip Tuesday. I'm Katie, founder of Woof Woof Network. Today I am joined by Louise Clark. She is a graphic designer and founder of the online design platform Designsta. She helps entrepreneurs, creatives and bloggers create graphic designs for their social media, website and lots of other fabulous things. Welcome, Louise.
Hi Katie, thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for coming to join us.
That was a lovely little intro there.
Oh, glad you liked it. Louise, you're going to come and give your 3 tips all about graphic design. Before we jump in with your 3 tips, can you kind of tell us a little bit about exactly what graphic design is, in case anyone out there who's watching this video isn't actually sure what graphic design is?
So graphic design is basically just creating graphics that you can share with your followers and audiences to promote your business. There's all different types of graphic design. So I'm going to be focusing on social media graphics today. So it's just basically a way of visually communicating your message with your followers.
Perfect. Okay, so let's jump in. So what's tip number 1?
Okay, so tip number 1 is keep it clean. And what I mean by that is some people have a tendency, if they're not used to creating graphics, to sort of almost panic and think, oh God, I've got to create this graphic and this is my one and only chance to put all of the information about my business out there on this graphic to the whole wide world. So then they try and fit every single piece of information that they possibly can onto the one tiny little square social media image. So you don't need to do that. Basically, you need to be creating graphics regularly. So probably 3 to 5 times a day. I think that's something that a lot of people don't realize as well when they first start a business, how much you need to be creating graphics. So it's no good to just create one graphic. You've got to be spreading them out and creating them regular and often. So then you can spread out your messaging as well and not have to bring it all onto the one image.
Yeah, because I find sometimes it's too much information, isn't it, all in one go? And I feel like actually you can overwhelm someone with the amount of information that sometimes you have just on one graphic.
Yeah, definitely, because people are scrolling furiously and fast on I don't know why they're furious, but they're going fast on their timeline.
Yeah, I think it's something like you've got just literally a few seconds. If someone is on Facebook on their mobile device, literally you think how fast you can scroll through on Facebook, and you've literally got just those few seconds to grab someone's attention.
That's it. And you've got to really catch their eye with this graphic. And don't forget, you also normally when you share a social media image, you also have a space to write text as well. So you can write loads of text in that bit, but with the graphic, you want to really grab their attention and catch their eye. So in terms of putting text on the graphic, just keep the messaging as short and sweet as you possibly can, like just a few words, a few main things that you want to say. You don't have to put paragraphs and paragraphs of text on there. Okay, so also another tip that I would say, well, in the same tip of keeping it clean, is to leave plenty of white space. When I say white space, I don't mean it has to be white. It can be whatever color the background is, but white space is just the blank space. So there's no elements, there's no text on that space. And that helps to keep your design looking clean and simple. And more spacious, which is good. It's also great for catching people's eye because, there's not just too much going on all over the place. So basically don't choose too fussy fonts, leave plenty of space, and don't choose too many fonts on the one graphic. Stick to 1 or 2 unless you're quite confident with font pairing.
Okay, so would you say that was your tip number 2, Louise? Be really careful about what fonts you're using on your graphics.
Yeah, so definitely tip number 2 is just make sure it's readable. That is so important. You've got to make sure, obviously, like we said before, people are scrolling really fast. You don't have much time. You've got to grab their attention. You're going to put some text on your design, so you want people to be able to read it. So don't make the mistake of picking fonts that are too fussy. You want them to be clean and simple, sort of classic fonts that are easy to understand straight away. You definitely want people to be able to read what you're saying. If you're going to all that effort of creating a graphic, you want them to make sense and people to be able to read them.
Yeah, and also I've seen some fonts that are really great and really stand out, but sometimes the colour is really hard to read.
Yes, yeah.
What advice would you give for that?
For choosing colour for fonts?
Yeah.
Well, basically, you want to make sure that it's not too bright, okay? So you don't want to blind people with the brightness of your text.
Okay.
Also want to make sure that it stands out nicely against whatever background that you're putting it on. So if you're putting on a photograph, you've got to be quite careful about placing text over the top of photographs. Or if you're using like a patterned background or something like that, one way that you can do it is to just put your background, and then you would create a square over the top of the background, and then you can place your text on top of that, and just make sure that it contrasts nicely with the background color that you've chosen. I would say be very careful about placing text directly over the top of a pattern or a photograph. I would always place a shape over the top of the background or the photograph and then put your text on top. You've just got to be so careful about making sure that it's really readable and clear. Yeah,
and it really still, pops out and stands
out. Yeah, you want it to pop. If you've got a busy background and then you're putting your text over the top, your text is not going to stand out, is it? So you just think about it logically.
So pop a little shape over and then put your text on top of that.
Yeah. And just make sure if you're doing things like that, if you're putting a shape or you're putting a border, make sure you are leaving at least an inch, I would say, between your text and the edge of the border or the edge of the graphic. That just goes back to that whole keeping enough white space there. You want enough space around all of your text and elements so that it just creates a more professional looking design.
Perfect. Okay, Louise, and what's tip number 3?
Tip number 3, we're whizzing through these.
We are.
So tip number 3 would be always include a call to action. And that can be just something as simple as adding, for more information, visit my website at. Make sure you always have your website on your graphics because you want people to know where they can find you. Or it could be, you could create a little call to action badge or button that says, download my latest ebook, or get my freebie at such and such. You want to give people direction, because you might think it's obvious because you're dealing with your business every day. You know where everything lives on your website. You know where everything is and how people can get their hands on it, but they don't know. So you have to remember that's the point of graphics. You're promoting your business and you're telling people what you want them to do. So make sure you are actually giving them the direction that they can follow through with.
Perfect. That's brilliant. Thank you so much, Louise. And Louise, where can we find you on the web or on social media?
If you go to www.designsta.com, you can find me there. That's my site. And it's, like you said before, it's an online graphic design platform for female entrepreneurs, creatives and bloggers. And I'm also hanging out on Facebook as well. You can search for Designsta on Facebook, or We Are Designsta on Instagram. And you can also track me down on Pinterest too.
Brilliant. Thank you.
I'm everywhere.
You're everywhere. Brilliant. Please leave a comment below and let us know what your main problems are when you're designing graphics for your business. We would love to know, and I'm sure Louise will come and answer some questions for you as well. So leave a comment below and let us know what problems you face when designing graphics for your business. And see you next time for another 3 Tip Tuesday.